the whole idea that often is overstated about leadership is that sometimes you have to learn how to be a good follower in order to be a good leader. I remember very vividly, I never thought I would dream to be a president of a university, and now I'm moving to one that has like 30,000 students. I can't even think that high, kind of thing. And I remember there was this Mr. Porter, and this sounds like a hokey story, but it's dead honest true. Mr. Porter was an African-American guy, lived a couple doors from my mom's, and I wasn't a great student in high school. I was okay, stayed out of trouble, stayed out of jail. And my mother thought that it would be a good thing if I apprenticed with him because he was an electrician, and that I should learn how to be a good electrician. And because in case I didn't want to go to college, I could have something to fall back onto. So Mr. Porter was really, just a wonderful guy. And he taught me a lot about following, because the word shadowing really had a literal value, because he said, look, brainy kids like you don't know a screwdriver from a hammer, stick close, kind of thing. And I carried the boxes and the bins, and he said, when I ask for this, make sure I get it. And, electricians fall into things, etc. And I'll have to tell you, one of the best life lessons is once you learn how to shadow someone, you start anticipating. It looks like he's about to do this, and if he doesn't electrocute himself, he's going to need this tool. And so I would hand him that, and he'd go, geez, how'd you do that? And I'll have to tell you that I've never forgotten Mr. Porter, because in a way, the whole issue of leadership is developing a set of skills that you've learned about anticipating the needs of other people. Because I really think what we don't teach students very well is that leadership is a lot about removing the boulders in the road that get in the way of other people being productive. And there's a skill and an art to that, because you have to anticipate people, you have to anticipate where they're going, and you have to be pretty effective at removing that boulder in the path. Because when the person experiences the road without the path, they kind of go, this is very good, I did this. I'm terrific, I'm perfect. And good leadership will say, I need to acknowledge the people that removed a lot of those barriers, remove the rock from the road. And so what I think is so important about the Lake Superior Leadership Academy is that you get into that notion, because you have to know people, you have to network with them, you have to learn what they're anticipating so that you can anticipate that as well. And then your effectiveness is measured by how well you help that person remove and become successful. Because you'll feel even better as a leader when the person you've helped get all of the accolades, right? And it's almost like philanthropy, because philanthropy in its purest form is you give money anonymously. You don't want to thank you. You want to know that you helped. And I think good leadership is when you have been effective and you don't need people to say to you, thanks, Les. You helped me do X, Y, and Z. The key point is the person you've helped will never forget what you've done for them. And then you can walk away saying, I really think I've experienced what leadership is all about. And so what you've been able to do through the Lake Superior Leadership Academy is learn that very delicate dance that's all about anticipation, knowing people, getting to know them. If you ever thought about it, you should have asked yourself, why do they want us to network all the time? What is this crazy thing called networking? Is it business cards in the fishbowl? Is it learning to shake hands? By the way, I hope they taught you how to play golf. A lot of things happen on the golf course. But if there was something I could give you to think about, not necessarily accept, but think about, is that the whole role of anticipation is to tune your behaviors to what other people need. right? Because a leader who faces a crowd who has no need has no purpose. And so we often lose sight of that whole notion of, we try to get this leadership thing of being able to take control, to set strategic direction, to lead people to solutions, to do a variety of things. But really the whole art of it, and I've really been fortunate in my life to be around people that have simply said, Les, I'm not worried about your skill. What I'm worried about is how you see other people moving forward. And I guess that's what I want to say to you about anticipation. It's one reason why my years as the president at Northern, I've been just obsessed with the notion that you have to get people, all employees throughout your organization, into that mode where they have to see themselves, no matter what they do, as part of this leadership development piece. And it really has driven and fueled my commitment to sending employees every year. Now, the budget has sort of prevented sending as many as that I would have liked to, but I always thought it was just symbolically and functionally and responsible for a university to take employees and send them to the Leadership Academy. And so, as Lindsay is saying, I'm really proud when people ask, what are you really proud of? The first thing I say is the student leadership that happens at Northern. The second thing I'm proud of is our ability to send employees to things like the Leadership Academy. Because in a way they all come back and you'll learn how to do things. You learn how to enact and operate with each other on various tasks. And then you suddenly learn that it's not about having power and the ability to move people. It's really about having the ability to inspire people, that you've led them through a path that has very few rocks in it, and you've been part of that success. And so I hope that as you move on in your careers and think about what you've learned here, the lessons here have been hopefully been very, very valuable, because other than the really cool field trips that you go on all the time, did they lock you in jail this time? You went to prison, right?
Top of the dome.
Oh, really? Did my insurance guys? But anyway, I'm just teasing you. I'm really quite proud of you. Tonight is about you. And I really expect and hope that as you move on in your careers and on in your assignments here, that you kind of think about what you've learned and what you've experienced in the Leadership Academy. And then at some point, you kind of say, you know what, I'm going to pay forward. I'm really going to enable a mentee, someone who I'm going to help down the same path that someone else helped me go through. And if the crowd would just indulge me just 1 minute. Phyllis and I have been having a kind of a tough day because in a lot of ways we have fallen in love with you all. And when this opportunity came before me, the biggest discussion we had at night was, how do you leave a place that you love? People who have opened their homes, their hearts, things that make you feel like a real person. And getting choked up. I wanted to thank all of you. The next couple of weeks will be very hard for us as we try to disengage from the university. And it's really a hard thing. It's like eating Chinese food that has sweet and sour to it. Because, every time we run into someone, they're either crying or they're hugging Phyllis or something is happening. And then I'll get a call from San Francisco, and it just thrills you that people are very excited about you coming, to the big city. And I want to thank everyone in town, and I hope I get some other opportunities on behalf of Phyllis and myself to thank all of you. You're very special. Thank you.